Well, hello, and welcome to the last one, I think, for today, because I don't know, I'm all over the place. Anyway, I've put myself in a different part so I don't cover the important bits. AB does geography. This is the fieldwork bit, okay? So this is the tricky one. If we look at what the paper is out of, 8 marks. So you've got 4, 8, 7, 8 on the physical stuff. Hopefully you've watched that. 7, 8, 8 on the human stuff, okay? This is all about the UK, remember? Core concepts, geology, where people live, coastal flooding, river flooding, and climate change, and then where do people live in the UK, difference between urban and rural populations, and the London case study. But look how many marks are on the fieldwork, okay? And the fieldwork is made up of two things. It's made up of the fieldwork that you did, your physical fieldwork, which ours was the coasts, and your human fieldwork, and that was when we went up to Olympic Park, but you could use Canary Wharf if you wanted to. It's impossible for me really to go through this in loads and loads of detail, but this slide is probably the most important one. These are like the phases in an inquiry. Just think of science, it's exactly the same thing. You're setting out to test geographical theory that you've learned about in books, okay? So what theory did we learn about in terms of how the sea erodes the coast and how areas are at risk of coastal flooding? And what we did is we went to Reculver to see if the sea defences were doing their job. Were they preventing erosion or slowing it down? And was it saving the landscape behind it from being flooded due to rising sea levels? So our inquiry question is, are the sea defences at Reculver effective? And then we went to Reculver and you collected data to see if the sea defences were doing their job. So proper data, yeah? And we did a beach profile to see if the groins had slowed down longshore drift. And we did field sketches as well as bipolar surveys to see if the sea walls and the other sea defences there had been effective. They were our primary fieldwork methods. Our secondary ones, we used a geology map to find out about the rock types, and we found out that this area is primarily clays, which is less resistant to erosion, so it's not chalk headlands like we have in Dover. And then you could also use a map to say we chose our sample sites, or we went on Kent Online to get background information on erosion rates. Once we got back to the classroom, we presented our data. We drew some beach profiles so we could compare the profile on one side of the groin to the other side. We annotated some field sketches, or you could say we drew some radar graphs if you wanted of the bipolar survey. We did them for the human one, so there's no reason why you can't just use it again. You then wrote up your findings using evidence. So are the sea defences at Reculver effective? What did the beach profiles tell you? What did the sketches tell you? Were the groins working to stop longshore drift? Were the sea defences working to slow down erosion and protect the land from flooding? And then the most important part, were your methods reliable and accurate, or is your investigation flawed? Has it got problems because the data was not effective? You did exactly the same for the human one. Has regeneration at Canary Wharf or has regeneration at Olympic Park or Newham improved the quality of life? We know that regeneration has happened in inner city areas which have gone into decline due to deindustrialisation. We went to see if the regeneration had improved the quality of life of the people there. How did we do this? We interviewed people to get views and perceptions. So we did a survey, interviews, a survey, and then you did environmental quality surveys where you gave scores to different characteristics. So, for example, the amount of graffiti, the amount of green space, the amount of litter, that sort of thing. Secondary data, really important, census data. We use the census to establish information or data about the population, about how deprived it was, its age, that sort of thing. And then we went to a local museum or we used newspapers to get historical data. Got back to the classroom, just like with Reculver, then we presented our data. We made pie charts, for example, to show the percentage of people agreeing or disagreeing with the questions. And we used radar graphs to show the surveys. And then just like with Reculver, we use that information to decide if the regeneration improved quality of life, If it did, what's the evidence? If it didn't, what's the evidence? And yet again, we evaluate how successful. Now you can pause me here and you can look at these slides. They have a lot of detail. I would advise that you focus on the key questions up here. So what is the theory that we're testing? Okay, that longshore drift removes the beach, destructive waves erode, and sea defences are being used to reduce erosion and protect from flooding. This is useful to have. It will come up more in the unfamiliar questions. So you'll get questions based on a piece of fieldwork that fictitious children have done in another school, but it's the same as yours. Okay. Why did we choose this location? It was near to school. The beach was accessible. Remember, 2 will do for everything. 2 will do, 2 will do, 2 will do. Okay. That's how you collected your data. If you have to describe your data collection method, I've got an example of how you did that here. How you presented your data, you might be asked to sketch it. There's a beach profile, annotated sketch, your analysis and conclusions. If you remember your fieldwork, this will make sense to you, okay? Pause me here, make some notes, read it, post some questions. And your urban fieldwork, has regeneration improved quality of life in Stratford, Newham, use whatever word you want. What's the theory? The idea that inner cities have experienced decline due to deindustrialisation. This has led to deprivation and unemployment, but they are getting regenerated. Why did we choose to go there? Quite close to school. How did you reduce any risks? Again, your methods, your environmental quality survey, your questionnaire, okay, and your secondary data. How did you present it? And your analysis and conclusions. Again, pause me here, have a look at it, ask any questions in the chat. Okay, folks, so that's all the videos you need for paper 2 for now. Forgive me for looking like this again, but I've been on my excursions with Sir David, who's in the background there. Wave to Sir David because he's done for the day. If you need anything, speak to Mr. Westgate. He can send me any messages or post in the channel, which you should be able to do now, and I will do my best to answer. Okay? But you're right, you're ready, you're fine, and I wish you the best of luck.